Hi. In the last weeks, we have been we added some more information, pop-up screens functionality into the BPM enhancements, and also a settings screen that related to some to any module to get more information about some configuration options there. And all of that is kind of building on top of the master detail functionality that Coreboss has. Uh, the thing is that Andrea asked me about the possibility of using the pop-up information screen or module that we have for BPM enhancements in general inside the application, just to have a pop-up anywhere that we may need it. So kind of untying the BPM modules perspective and the process and the more information process info that we have there. And actually, the way it is designed, it wasn't very difficult to get that working. I did have to make some minor modifications, and it has one limitation that I will share with you. Anyway, I'm going to show you what that looks like. I created a new pop-up on the help desk module, and basically what I did is very similar to what we already did in the BPM perspective. I have the process more information module where I am defining what structure I'm supposed to have in that pop-up. So I have what module I'm going to actually be saving, what are the fields that are in the pop-up. I have a field dependency map, field filter map, where I'm using the master detail map to just show a subset of the fields on the module. I have validation map and a dependency map also, and we can indicate if the pop-up is active or not. So here I'm just defining the same structure that we had in the BPM perspective. I mean, it's just this module is just telling you what is supposed to be inside that pop-up. So how do we trigger this module? How do we trigger this configuration settings? Because in the BPM, it will be triggered when you try to go from one step to the other. But in this case, it's not triggering on anything. It has to be kind of something that you define. So what I did here on the help desk module, I added this button up here, this more information. This is a business action. So basically now we can trigger the pop-up using a business action. But I also took it a little further and I created a validation map. So I added support for this in the validation map, which is probably even more interesting, because now what you can do with this magic formula that I have down here, where validation maps already supported the fact that you could trigger any function that you want after a validation failed. So basically what I'm saying here is that I want to execute this get process info function. This is the one that I had to add to actually get the pop-up working. And the parameters that it needs is the configuration, the CRM ID of the configuration module. In other words, this record here has to get this, because this is where the information of what has to be opened is. It also needs to know the base module that it's in, which is the help desk, and the record that you're editing, which is this $record thing. I added here the P1 and P2 parameters just to make sure that I could get them and I could work with them, but it's just an example. They're not actually being used for anything. So again, you have to trigger when, in this case I'm triggering the validation on this field which I created, this 1319, which is basically the relation field between the help desk and the more information module record actually. And if that's required, if it's empty, then I trigger this more information to actually get the more information and write the relation there. The business action also looks very similar. It's a JavaScript button, and I called it again the get process info. And this one gets an empty parameter, the detail view, because I'm triggering this on the detail view. Then I want to do a save when they actually save that. And again, I have this magic formula here with the CRM ID of the pop-up and the help desk and the record that I need. So let's look with that. Let's see what that looks like. This record is empty. So if I edit this one, and I'm going to make sure I got the right JavaScript just in case. Okay, as we can see here, the more information, this is the 1319 field, and this is empty. This is the validation is triggered on the emptiness of this field. So if I try to save it, the validation triggers. It sees that that field is empty. The message with the function comes back. The function calls the get process info with the information, and it opens this screen, which is fields on the module BPM info. It could be any module that you have or want to create. I mean, it's not tied to the BPM process in any way. I'm just recycling this module because I already had it here. I have two fields, so we can do test 01 and test txt01. And if I save this, this will be saved, and the record below will be saved. The relation will be established here. So now if I click open this one, it takes me to the information with the test and the text info. So I mean, basically what you would expect. I mean, it's just a nice way of triggering that extra information there on the validation. Now that I have it, I tested inline edits and all that stuff. It seems to be working. If not, get back to me and we'll try. The more info here, now if I click this one, it will open that same record. You know, it knows you're editing that one, and you can change these two, save, and it will save the one below. As you can see, the reference changed, not the record. Record is the same, it's just the values that I changed. It changed the reference here, it changed the values. So you can do that pop-up anywhere you want or need. I also tested this with an empty one, and it does seem to kind of create and fill in everything for us. Now, where is the limitation? The limitation is on the create. The relation that you're establishing here. Obviously, we have to have on the module BPM info where we're going to save the records. As you can see, I have a new record here, which is this one related to that help desk, which is the one that we were just looking at. Here, you have to have a UI type 10 linked to the module that you want to add the pop-up to, because it's a one-to-one relation, and you have to update that one-to-one relation. It has to be established. So this is a UI type 10 pointing to the help desk in this case. On the other side, the help desk also has this this relation going back, so you can see where the more information is. I guess this could be a one-to-many. I mean, you could put it in a related list, but it is a one-to-one, so it kind of makes more sense to have it here. And that's where the problem comes. If I try to create a new support ticket, obviously this record is empty. The problem is that this record, this help desk, doesn't exist yet. So if I try to create more info, if I try to create this one, the validation is going to kick in. It's going to see that this more information is empty, and it's going to open that pop-up for us just like it did before. The problem here is that you see that this field is empty. The relation going back to the master record, or the one-to-one relation, is empty because the record below is creating. Actually, it doesn't exist. I don't have a CRM ID yet. So there's no way for us to actually tie those two records together. So if I continue with this and we do a create test 01, and let's put here create text 01, and I save, what's going to happen is that it's going to save the help desk, and it is going to relate it with the more information record that we created in the pop-up, because that one was created before this one. So that one is finished. You actually save the pop-up. Then that ID that was gotten there is saved on the help desk, and the help desk is saved, so the validation doesn't trigger anymore. But if I open this one, it's actually not related back with the help desk, because that record did not exist when we were creating this BPM info record. The only solution I have right now is for you to actually edit this field and select it. I mean, I haven't decided or found or even thought about a solution there at all. So you have to, for the moment, just manually save that and go back. That's the only way that we can actually edit this and get the correct record. Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's just about being able to open that pop-up and get more information on a record. It's kind of like a master detail, but instead of having that inline grid that we usually have, it's kind of just this pop-up screen and moving things around. Pending would be that see how if we could find a solution to that create, which I don't really know. If anybody has any ideas, please share them with me. And the other thing that I would like to do about that, kind of to close up all of these things, I don't think we have anything else pending on the functionality of these pop-ups, would be to open them in a modal screen instead of the full window pop-up thing. That has been discussed when we created the master detail. I think there's some example or some code out there that already does that, but we would have to recover context and apply it here and make sure we document it going forward. Well, I hope that helps.